Hey everyone, Josh from Double Edge Sharpening, and I've got 5 shears from a local salon, but there's one that I want to take a look at in particular with you, so let's do that. Okay, so the one shear I want to look at, and then what I'm going to do is show you what how we're going to deal with it, is this one right here. This is a Casio shear. This is a 6-inch shear, and I got it from the client, and Casio is a pretty good brand. Now, what I do when I have my shears is I first kind of examine them, take a look. Is there any nicks in the blade? What kind of blade is it? Do they close nice and smooth, or the tangs and bumpers there? But the other thing I look at is the ride line. On a convex shear, the ride line is super important, and I've talked about that before. And sometimes, if they've been sharpened over and over again, you start to get into what's called the hollow of the shear. It's kind of curved in there. And once you get deep into that hollow, then it's hard to make the ride line come back. However, you can have a good ride line for a long time within sharpening, but you have to make sure you work it and get it back. And what I noticed with this one is the ride line's pretty faint. I'll see if I can get it to show up for you and do a comparison. Even these other ones I have, they have pretty good ride lines still. And this one still has the ride line in what's called, there's kind of a backwards J here. And again, hopefully we can get a good close-up. So you see it's kind of shiny. Okay, there we go. You see that color, that changing color at the bottom there? So that should go all the way up the edge of the blade. Now it's faint, but there's actually not really much of a ride line. You can see the color, hopefully, is at the pivot point here, the ride line, and then it kind of disappears. There's not really much of a ride line here. If there is, it's very faint. Same on the other side, which just means it's been sharpened a few times, I can tell, just by the amount of material that's gone. But whoever worked it last didn't really work it very good to get a solid ride line in there. Let me see if I can show you a comparison. And again, I haven't sharpened any of these yet. Let's see, can you see on this one, the light reflection on there a bit. Okay, you see how there's a bit more of the light reflecting off the edge? We're still going to work all of these and get a ride line on them. However, because this one doesn't have that much of a ride line, there's a little bit more work to do. Typically, I would use my lapping stone or lapping paper. This is about 1,000 grit, and I also have about a 2,000 grit that I can use. When that requires me to take the shears apart, I have to take the shears apart either way and work it and work it and work it. With this much ride line to be worked back, that would take a little bit of time. And these ones don't require as much work, so I'll probably use the lapping stone on those ones. However, I got some new discs the other day from Above Shear, or Shear Logic, which is Above Shear, who is Alex Lee. And what they are, pardon me with the video here, I'm trying to get you in, is they're CBN wheels. Now, I'll have to look up, I know what CBN stands for. It's racking my brain. I'll add it in the bottom here. But basically, these are those wheels. This is a 600 grit wheel, and then I've got a 1200 grit wheel. And what we do is we put this on the flat hone, and with the speed that we set it at, we set about 600 RPM, and we can actually work very quickly and consistently. It's not necessarily about speed and getting the ride line in as fast as possible, but what it does is it works it a lot better and even across the entire blade, where I can put it on the hone as it's spinning and work that ride line. They're specially made so that they hit just the ride line and avoid the hollow. So I want to show you how that works. That's part of this video today. So we're going to get to it. Now, we still have to take the shear apart, and what we'll do is you may not be able to see me here, but I'm going to take the shears apart. We're going to wash them first, and then we're going to mark in the ride line, with a marker so you can see. So when I got these shears, she also mentioned, could you increase the tension, which is an important thing. Now, you should have a UFO tool of some type for some of these. Some of them are external screws, and you can do it with your finger. This one requires a UFO tool. And I talked about this again in my other video just not too long ago, how tension is important. Too loose, you're going to fold hair. Too tight, you're going to cross the blades too hard and damage them. And it's super important to get them the right tension and consistently. Okay, so we're going to take out all the parts here and clean it up. It's also important to remember how you take the shears apart, because you want to put all the pieces back. Make sure you take all the pieces out so that if you go to return it, it functions properly. Okay, now we're going to clean the shear just to get all the hair and gunk out of there so we have a nice clean surface. Okay, I'll let you see. I'll pull it up a bit closer now that they're taken apart, see if you can see that there's not so much a ride line on here. Get this light just in the right spot. Okay, so you see how it's shiny here, but then once we actually hit the blade, it disappears. It's a little bit there, but it's very faint, almost non-existent. The edge, kind of at the tip, there's a bit more, but down here, which is where sometimes a lot of metal gets removed for some reason, people maybe angle it on there. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna mark this in real good so that you can see where the wheel removes. Okay, you see? So now we put red all the way across. Now the other thing that the ride line does show, if it's not even and consistent, oop, I just marked up all over the blade, but that's okay. It shows if the blade is, so pardon that, that'll come off when I wash it off. But now I've got a red line all the way across. Okay, gonna see how best to show you this, if we do it close and high, or if I need to put it on my head kind of thing. Okay, I think that'll work. Okay, so we're gonna start with the 600 grit. So 600 grit. And we're gonna, so these are right-handed shears, but actually because the way we're gonna put the plate on, we don't turn it to the right, we actually turn it to the left, because what it's gonna do is, here's where the ride line is on this side, right here, and when I put it down, we want the wheel going away and reestablishing that ride line. And we're only gonna set it to about a 600 RPM. I like to use a little H42 to lubricate and clean. That is way too fast. Get it set here. And again, the reason I'm using the CBN wheel is not necessarily so that's faster. It might be faster in reestablishing a really tough ride line, or a ride line that's missing, but what it'll actually do is actually make it consistent too. So I'm about 600 RPM there. Okay, so here we go. We're going to take the first one again. Can you see the red? Okay. And basically we're going to work at the back first. We're going to put pressure on the pivot and just on the pivot and lift up and inspect it. Okay. So we're just going to place it like that and lift. And then what you can see how the red is gone and we've reestablished that backwards J. We do not want a ride line on the back. We don't want it on the back. We just want it right here. So now that we've got it established, we can now work our way down and get the full established ride line all the way down the blade. And we just slide our finger back and forth, and let me check. And we're starting to get it. There we go. And that's pretty much it. There might be a bit at the tip, but we've got it all the way across. There we go. Okay. Do you see now how the light is reflecting? See how it's reflecting all the way down now, and it even meets at this point right here? So now we've reestablished that ride line. And that ride line is important for the blades to cross when they make contact with each other for actually cutting the hair. Okay, we're going to do the next blade. Same thing. So again, start at the back, pivot, light push. We've reestablished that. Okay. Do you want to see? So you see, we've reestablished the J. And that pretty much got it. I'm going to do it one more time just to... There we go. And now, let's get the light in there. Now we've got, see, there we go. We got the ride line right all the way across. Fully established ride line that wasn't there before. That's the 600 grit. Now we're going to polish or just refine it a bit more with the 1200. Now, I know I said I've got even a 2000 grit lapping stone, but because of the speed of this at 600 RPM, you don't need to go like a 2000 grit. You can go 600, 1200. You could even just start with the 1200 for a ride line that's already well established. You don't have to necessarily start with the 600, but the 600 helps reestablish it when it's not there, like this one was. And that's it. Now we've got a refined ride line all the way down the blade. And that is how the CBN wheel works. And that is how, sorry, I can reestablish ride lines that are completely missing. I can still use the lapping stone. I'll still use the lapping stone for removing burrs and removing the burr when I go through the complete sharpening process of this. But I just want to make this quick video on the ride lines, and particularly these new CBN wheels that I got. They work great. I love having them. They actually up the game because now I can have a consistency. Again, we are looking, when stylists are looking for their hair shears to be sharpened or taken care of, they want a consistent product. They want something that'll cut properly all the time. And these CBN wheels allow me to get that high quality product back into their hands working well. So thanks for checking out this video. I'm going to go ahead and sharpen the rest of these. I'm sure we'll be making more videos. If you liked what you see, please subscribe to my videos, my channel, Double Edge Sharpening. If you are needing anything, please check out my website, www.doubleedgesharpening.ca. I do mail-in orders. If people want to mail me their shears, I can sharpen them up, service them. I have replacement parts for clicker plates and washers and bumpers and tangs. But yeah, thanks for checking me out. We'll talk to you later.